Law of assumption states that we must assume the wish fulfilled, but how we assume the wish fulfilled in the most effective way to cause fast manifestation is what we're going to cover in this video. You might be familiar with Robert Millikan, which was Neville Gollard's student who sat and affirmed over and over and over using repetition for 16 hours. And then a few days later, his entire life changed. He actually also became a Nobel Prize winning scientist. And what he used here is consistent repetition. Also, in the book Magic Mind by James Doty, he states that manifestation is defining such intention that it gets embedded into our subconscious. But how do we do it in the fastest and most effective way? First of all, though, it's so important that we embed the desire and the intent into our subconscious mind, because as Mind Magic says, once the goal is embedded, our brain works like a bloodhound to try and bring about into reality. And don't we all want our brains working like some sort of manifestation machine to try and bring your goal to you in the fastest, most effective way? And it's also so important because it results in a process called value tagging, which he describes as a way of your subconscious mind prioritizing certain things over other things. So when you use things like repetition, you're tagging that intention, that goal, as the most important thing in your mind going on right now. And he also says that it imprints that intention into the deepest levels of your subconscious. So how do we use repetition to embed our goals into our subconscious mind fast and therefore bring about our manifestation in the most effective and fast way? Some of the entire methods, techniques, strategies that I'm about to give you, all of them share one thing in common, and that is that we repeat the image action experience every single day in a relaxed brainwave state. In a relaxed brainwave state, our mental walls are down and we can therefore penetrate the subconscious a lot easier. Repetition is great because it penetrates the subconscious, but if you're in a level of alpha or theta brainwave state, the relaxed states that you get into, usually through things like meditation, the mental walls are way far down. Your adrenaline is not rushing around, you're not stressed. You're in a state of safe relaxation, peace and quiet. So your mind is now tagging the state of safeness, relaxation, calm, consistency, the knowing with your desire, instead of doing it in a state of stress, uneasiness, force. And therefore then your subconscious mind is less likely to accept that as a new belief because it's seeing it as that unsafety, that unknown, that stressful situation that you experienced when you was visualizing it. Therefore, the fastest way to adopt that new belief, to adopt that new intention and that new goal into your subconscious is number one, through repetition, and number two, through doing the repetition through a relaxed brainwave state. So these are the techniques that you're going to be able to use to get it into your brain through repetition and through relaxed brainwave states. Number one is going to be through visualization. You guys know what visualization is, so I'm not going to tell you what it is or how to do it or anything like that. I'm just going to tell you the important aspects that you need to basically tick off whilst you're doing the visualization to make sure you're doing it in a way that your subconscious mind is taking it on the fastest and most effective. So that's going to be, first of all, through making sure that you do your visualization in a relaxed state. And so therefore, my favorite way of doing visualization is through a meditation visualization. Joe Dispenza's one are undoubtedly probably the best on YouTube, purely because he does systems with you before the visualization to relax your nervous system. So for 20-30 minutes, sometimes, not all the time, some of them are 20-30 minutes of meditation, and then he gets you to start visualizing. Obviously there is shorter ones than that, but meditating before doing your visualization is going to drop those subconscious walls and make you way more likely to adopt that belief. And if you do a visualization every single day without fail, without checking the 3D and seeing if it's coming, blah, 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 or looking at all the other methods in the world, as long as you are doing it repeatedly from a relaxed brainwave state where your nervous system is regulated, your subconscious is going to be embedding that belief into the deepest depths and prioritizing it as something that needs solving ASAP. Also, visualization is great because your brain doesn't actually know the difference between the experience that you're visualizing between a physical experience that you have previously experienced. You want to set the intention, visualize the intention, and dig it deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper in. And the deeper you go, the more important it is to your brain. I'm going to create a little circle here to show you on the screen to explain what I mean. But essentially, we're going to be doing it relaxed. Then we're going to set the intention, and then the intention is going to be then embedding. And this little wheel of relaxation, intention, and embedding causes the brain to then prioritize that desire. That is what you want to be achieving and aiming for with any manifestation techniques that you do out there. It doesn't matter what you do, as long as you do this wheel of relaxation, intention, embedding, and then your brain will be prioritizing it and working behind the scenes when you're not even thinking. Then number 2, again, is one of the basics, affirmations. So how do we do affirmations in a way that prioritizes and embeds that desire? Instead of just doing it willy-nilly and then not knowing if it's gonna work, going to YouTube, going to Reddit, why is it not working? What else am I gonna try? And then before you know it, you're onto another technique that still doesn't work because you didn't even know if you was doing it right or wrong in the first place. So again, affirmations, we wanna be still following the big chart of relaxation, intention, and embedding to cause the brain to prioritize. We want to make sure that we're in a comfortable, calm position. For me, this would be amazing. I'm in my little squishy chair. I've got my theta brainwave states on. By the way, this is an amazing video on YouTube. This gets you into the relaxed theta brainwave state as well. Just type in theta waves, and a lot of these videos, if you put them on with earphones in, it has binaural beats in, which means that your brain matches the beats, so they're each different beats in your ear. The brain matches the perfect wave, which causes the theta brainwave state. And then it gets you into that relaxed theta brainwave state really fast. Doing things like listening to theta brainwave state, listening to things like 432 hertz or 528 hertz to get your mind into a relaxed state. So you could do that through earphones and listening. You could also accompany it by doing things like a meditation, box breathing. You can also do a sensory slowing down nervous system technique, which is where you do 5 things that you can touch, 4 things that you can see, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. This is also a great way to relax that nervous system into the theta or alpha brainwave state where you're all relaxed and calm, to show your mind and your subconscious that it's safe to have this desire and to experience this desire, remember, because it won't do it if it sees it unsafe. So then, after you've done your relaxation, you've still got your relaxing music or binaural beats in your ears, you can then begin to say your affirmations aloud using one of the counting apps if you want to know how many you've done it for. Or if you're like me, I always write down my affirmations in my little princess vintage journal here that I made for myself, and I literally just write them over and over and over again. So I have one affirmation that I do that's like a generic umbrella affirmation, and at the moment I'm just writing it over and over and over and over again and making sure to cover a whole page like this. Like a whole page every single day. So that's what I'm doing right now. Also make sure that once you've done your visualization, your affirmations, you're also making sure that you're in the present moment. You're focused, grounded, and present with your current life. You're happy and calm with your current life. You're not rushing the new life because you're impatient. So it's super important that you're also very present and calm in the current life, because we can get lost in the end state, and we can also sit there daydreaming about it all the time, and that's what causes us to be attached to it too much. And we start visualizing it and sensing it too much, that it causes us to have a low vibration, because then we're attached to it, and we're also feeling low all the time because we don't have it yet. And so that is the opposite of doing this technique, we must be separating our current life with the new life we're manifesting and treating this like a good life already, but also excited for the new life. So that's where the balance is, being grateful for where we're at, but excited for where we are going. So do your manifestation techniques and then forget about it. Detach, whatever, until you next do it again. And then by doing the relaxation, setting the intention, embedding it into your mind, causing your mind to prioritize it, following that wheel, then your mind is going to see this as something, an idea, a goal that it cannot ignore. That's what we want. We want it so that our brain physically cannot ignore this goal. It needs to happen now. And then that's when you're sleeping, you're working, and your mind is working for you. So let me know if this helped you manifest, and I'll see you in another video. Bye guys.